My dad's voice hit me like a slap across the face. "Pack your things, Madison. You're no longer welcome here." I froze at the bottom of the staircase, fingers clenching the strap of my laptop bag so tightly my knuckles turned white. My heart stuttered, thudded, then threatened to fall right out of my chest. His tone wasn't angry. It was worse than that. It was final. And standing beside him, like some cold, beautiful statue, was Isabel, his new wife of just 8 months. She crossed her arms, one perfectly manicured brow arched. Her lips curled into the faintest hint of a smirk. "Dad, you don't mean that," I said, voice cracking. "This is my home." "Not anymore," he replied, voice like stone. "You've made it clear you can't move forward. Isabel and I—" "Isabel," I snapped, taking a step forward. "She's not family, Dad. She's a stranger who showed up, redecorated everything, and erased every trace of Mom." "She's my wife," he snapped back, stepping forward too. "And she's done more to bring stability into this home than you have in the past year." My name is Madison Cole. I was 19 the night my father, Charles Cole, founder and CEO of Cole Data, one of Seattle's most respected data analytics companies, threw me out of the only home I had ever known. This wasn't the first fight we'd had since he married Isabel, but it was the last one that would matter. It started with little things. Mom's paintings disappearing from the walls, her collection of music boxes boxed up and put in storage. Then the kitchen was gutted, the baby blue wall my mom painted herself, gone, replaced by sleek granite and white marble like it belonged in a catalog, not a home. But the worst blow came when I discovered my name had been quietly removed from the company's summer internship list. It was the same internship program Mom had started for college students, especially girls in tech. She'd always said it was important that I earn my spot, not have it handed to me. I did earn it, and then Isabel took it away, like it meant nothing. "Maybe it's better this way," Isabel said calmly now, her voice like honey spiked with venom. "You've been nothing but a source of tension. This isn't healthy for any of us." "Any of us?" I laughed bitterly. "You've been here less than a year." And Dad didn't say a word, just stared at me with eyes that used to light up whenever I entered a room. Now they looked tired, cold. "You have 1 hour," he said. The words sliced through me. I turned without another word and climbed the stairs. Each step felt heavier than the last, as if my body knew this would be the final time I walked them as a daughter, as a Cole. My room surprisingly looked untouched. The lilac curtains Mom sewed herself were still fluttering in the breeze from the cracked window. My bookshelf still leaned a little to the left where Dad promised, 3 years ago, to fix it. I didn't cry. Not yet. There was no time. I pulled my suitcase from under the bed and started packing with mechanical focus. Laptop, charger, notebooks, toothbrush. The silver bracelet Mom gave me before she died, hidden beneath scarves in my drawer. A printed photo of the two of us at the science fair when I was 16. She was wearing her "Data is Beautiful" t-shirt and laughing as I held the second-place trophy. I stared at the picture until my vision blurred. My phone buzzed. "Tyler, how bad is it? Want me to come get you?" Me. "He actually did it. I'm out." Tyler, "Guest room's yours. My mom's making spaghetti." Tyler Reynolds had been my best friend since 2nd grade, the one constant in my life who didn't disappear, judge, or try to change me. I didn't even have to ask for help. He just showed up, always. I looked around the room again, my whole life reduced to a carry-on and a half-full duffel, but my eyes landed on one last thing, a black binder. Inside it was the business plan I'd been working on for the past 3 months. An idea for a small business analytics platform that used AI to track inventory, customer flow, seasonal demand, all in real time. It was streamlined, affordable, and perfect for independent shops and cafes. The kind of businesses Cole Data didn't give a damn about. I had pitched the concept to my dad over dinner last month. He hadn't even opened the folder. "Not scalable," he said. "Cute project, though." Isabel had smiled over her wine glass and said, "Sounds like a fun school assignment." I grabbed the binder, stuffed it in my bag, and zipped it shut. My hand trembled, but my spine was straight. Downstairs I could hear laughter. Laughter. as if they hadn't just broken my heart and kicked me out into the night. I took a deep breath, opened my bedroom door, and walked out. They didn't even look up as I passed through the living room. I reached the front door, hand on the knob, then paused. "You'll remember this," I said without turning around. "You'll remember the night you chose her over your own daughter." Then I stepped outside. The air was sharp, laced with the scent of rain and pine. A familiar hum buzzed from the streetlight across the driveway. Tyler's beat-up silver Honda sat by the curb, engine running. I climbed into the passenger seat without a word, tossed my bags into the back. "You okay?" he asked, looking at me like I might shatter. "Not even close," I said. "But I will be." He nodded and pulled away from the house. I didn't look back. We drove in silence for a few minutes before he asked, "So what now?" I opened my bag and pulled out the black binder. "I build," I said simply. Tyler grinned. "Hell yeah, you do." As the city lights flickered in the distance and the car sped toward a future I hadn't planned for, I opened my laptop and launched the first blank document of the rest of my life. I had no home, no money, no safety net, but I had a dream, and I had absolutely nothing left to lose. Tyler's garage smelled like engine oil, half-finished projects, and now, ambition. He and his mom, Ellen, had spent the afternoon clearing space, moved out the old lawnmower, swept the floor twice, even dragged in a folding table from the basement to use as a desk. It wasn't perfect. Hell, it wasn't even clean, but it was mine. That night, I lay awake on the guest bed, staring at the glow-in-the-dark stars still stuck to the ceiling. We used to have sleepovers in this room when we were 10. Now I was 19, homeless, and rebuilding my life on a second-hand mattress. But somehow, I didn't feel broken. I felt unshackled. The next morning, I woke up to the smell of cinnamon pancakes and the hum of Motown classics playing from the kitchen. "Don't you dare say thank you," Ellen said as she slid a plate in front of me. "Just promise me you'll build something that'll make that man of yours regret everything." I smiled weakly. "He's not my anything anymore." She nodded, her eyes soft. "Even better." After breakfast, I moved into the garage with my laptop, some notebooks, and the black binder. I laid everything out on the folding table and stared at it like a war general surveying a battle plan. This was it. No investors, no safety net, no internship or family name to fall back on. Just me. I renamed the project Pulse Point Analytics, the name Mom once jotted down on a napkin when we were brainstorming at our favorite bookstore cafe. The idea: a lightweight, real-time data dashboard that gave small businesses insights they could actually use, without needing a full IT team or enterprise budget. Coal Data had always catered to big clients, chain retailers, pharmaceutical companies, banks. But Mom believed the future was in supporting the small guys, and so did I. Now, I was going to prove it. Tyler offered to help between classes. He wasn't just book smart. He understood people, marketing, user needs, community engagement, all the stuff I sucked at. And he believed in me, even when I didn't. "You know what your biggest flaw is?" he asked, chewing on a pencil while we mapped out the onboarding flow on the whiteboard. "You're about to tell me. You're terrified of being seen. You build walls with sarcasm, but deep down, you want someone to choose you." I paused, marker in hand. "Well, they didn't." "Then screw them," he said. "Build something so good they'll beg to come back." It was Tyler who introduced me to Jonas Lee, a coding genius he met through a campus project. Jonas was 22, already building open-source software that was getting attention in tech forums, but he hated crowds, meetings, or pants with buttons. I pitched PulsePoint to him over a late-night Zoom call. He didn't say anything for 2 whole minutes after I finished. Then he nodded once. "I'm in, but don't ask me to talk to humans." "Deal," I grinned. "You write magic, I'll deal with people." And just like that, our team was born. We spent days sketching wireframes on printer paper, arguing about database structures, and learning way too much about how bakery inventory systems worked. I signed up for a free trial of 8 different accounting apps just to compare UX flows. It was chaotic, beautiful, exhausting, and it felt like home. Then came our first break, A boutique cafe in Tacoma, Brew and Bloom, responded to our cold email. The owner, Lily Nguyen, said she was curious and willing to test out PulsePoint's beta. "You're gonna crush this," Tyler said, watching me prep for the demo call like I was about to step on stage at a TED Talk. I tried to smile, but my hands were shaking. The demo started off okay. Lily was kind, curious, asked smart questions. Then the app froze. The analytics dashboard lagged. The real-time update button just didn't. My face flushed. My voice caught. I fumbled with explanations, but I knew what I saw in Lily's eyes. Disappointment. After the call, I went to the car and shut the door before the first sob hit. Tyler didn't say anything, just sat next to me, quiet, letting me break down. "I can't do this," I whispered. "What if I'm just some arrogant kid with a laptop and a grudge? You built more from this garage than Cold Data has with 10 floors of execs and endless funding," he said softly. "So fix it, then go back, stronger." So I did. Jonas and I rebuilt the back end from scratch. We stayed up till 3 a.m. every night, tweaking code, optimizing load times, redesigning the UI. Tyler made us terrible coffee and insisted we play one round of Mario Kart every 3 hours for team morale. And we sent Lily an apology, a new build, and a promise we'd make it right. She agreed to try again. This time it worked. The dashboard was faster, cleaner. The insights came in real time. Within days, Lily said she'd saved hundreds by adjusting her weekend prep orders. Then she recommended us to 2 other local businesses. From there, word spread like wildfire. A yoga studio, a flower shop, a used bookstore. They weren't million-dollar clients, but they were real, and they needed us. Every sign-up felt like a tiny rebellion against the people who told me I wasn't enough. But every night, after we powered down, I'd still check Cold Data's site. Nothing. No mention of me, no email, no apology. Then one morning, as I was finishing a meeting with a new client, a dog bakery of all things, an email came in from a generic domain. No subject line, no signature, just one sentence. "You might want to check the patents on your latest feature. Cold Data's suddenly interested in local analytics. Sound familiar?" My blood went cold. I opened a new tab, searched Cold Data Local Analytics. There it was, Insight Lite, a revolutionary, real-time solution for small to mid-size business clients. Same pitch, same dashboard layout, same color scheme. Even the name sounded like a cheap knockoff. I felt sick. I clicked through the screenshots, compared them to the ones in my binder, identical, down to the tab names. And the worst part? I had included all of this in my internship application packet, the one that never got reviewed, the one Isabel had full access to. "They stole it," I said out loud. Tyler leaned over, eyes narrowing. "No," he said. "They didn't just steal from you. They stole from your mom. You two built that idea together. This is her legacy." Jonas didn't hesitate. "We go public. Post the whole story. Let the world decide." But I hesitated. If I did this, if I made this public, there'd be no going back. Not with my father, not with the company, not with the past. But then I saw it, on Cold Data's press page, a glowing statement about Insight Lite's creation giving special strategic advisory credit to Mrs. Isabel Cole. That was it. I opened LinkedIn, then Twitter, and I posted the truth. Every email, every sketch, every draft, every timestamp. No accusations, just facts. And a quiet headline. What happens when your legacy is stolen from inside your own family? 24 hours later, Justice for PulsePoint was trending nationwide. The morning after the post went live, I woke up to 231 unread notifications, 17 missed calls, and one very stunned Tyler standing at my garage door holding 2 coffees. "You just broke the internet," he said, blinking like he wasn't sure if it was real. "And also maybe burned down a billion-dollar company." The LinkedIn post had been shared over 12,000 times in less than 24 hours. Twitter was on fire with comparisons between PulsePoint's early UI and the screenshots from Cold Data's new Insight Lite rollout. Hashtags like #StolenStartup, #Colgate, and #Justice for Madison trended nationally. Reporters from TechCrunch, The Verge, Business Insider, even a producer from Good Morning America reached out asking for interviews. It was overwhelming and kind of surreal. But part of me wasn't surprised. Deep down, I knew people connected with underdog stories, and this one had everything. The powerful company, the daughter betrayed, the stolen legacy. It wasn't just code, it was personal, and it had finally exploded. I hadn't heard anything from my dad. No phone call, no email, no angry voicemail telling me to take it down. But Isabel? She didn't waste a second. By noon, she had gone on a business podcast, Founders First, and dropped her version of the story. Madison's had a difficult time adjusting since her mother passed, she said with her signature condescending tone. This feels more like a personal vendetta than a professional disagreement. I genuinely wish her well. I watched the clip on Tyler's laptop in stunned silence. Did she just diagnose you on a podcast? Tyler asked. Yep. Classy. My stomach churned. Not from anger, but from betrayal. Again. She hadn't just stolen my work. Now she was painting me as unstable, emotional, irrational. Exactly the narrative I'd fought my whole life to avoid in a male-dominated industry. And she wasn't done. 2 days later, a courier arrived at the garage with a thick envelope, a cease and desist. Coldata's legal team accused me of defamation, intellectual property violation, and breach of confidentiality from my time as an intern, an internship I was never officially part of. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I sat down hard on the edge of the garage cot, the letter trembling in my hand. "They're suing me," I whispered. Jonas showed up 30 minutes later, out of breath and red-faced from running. He took one look at the letter and muttered a string of words that would have made my mother gasp. "They're bluffing," he said. "They want to scare you into silence." "And it's working," I admitted, my voice hollow. Tyler knelt in front of me. "Hey, you did nothing wrong. You told the truth. You backed it with evidence. They can't erase that now." But fear crept in like fog. What if they buried me in legal fees? What if no investor would touch me after this? What if this became the story people remembered? Not the platform, not the mission, but the scandal. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, Ellen made me pancakes again. But this time, she set down the plate with a look I hadn't seen before, steel and fire. "Your mother was my best friend," she said. "She believed in you long before anyone else did. Don't let that woman win." That afternoon, I did my first interview, TechWatch Live, with host Dana Kim. Dana didn't go easy on me. She asked hard questions, she brought up the lawsuit, she challenged the narrative. But I held my ground. I spoke with clarity. I explained the timelines, the proof, the betrayal, and most importantly, I talked about PulsePoint's mission, to empower small businesses, to build tech for people, not just profit. By the time the interview ended, the live chat was flooded with support. Small business owners, developers, women in tech, all backing me. Even some ex-Coldata employees started reaching out anonymously, sharing stories, patterns, whispers that Insight Light wasn't the first thing they'd stolen, that under Isabel's influence, Coldata had quietly crushed internal innovation, favoring flashy ideas they could co-opt and rebrand. One anonymous message stood out. "You don't know me, but I've worked at Coldata for 15 years. Your mother mentored me when I was fresh out of college. She'd be proud of you. Isabel's game is almost over." Then came the tipping point. A whistleblower, someone from Coldata's product team, leaked an internal Slack conversation. In it, a senior dev admitted that the Insight Light interface was heavily inspired by old mock-ups from Madison's folder, and that Isabel had pushed it hard because it was PR gold. The screenshots went viral. And Coldata? They started to crack. Investors pulled out of their upcoming Series E round. Clients began asking questions. A tech ethics watchdog launched an investigation into their IP practices. And me? I got a call. Blocked number. I almost didn't answer. "Madison," the voice said. "It's me. It's Dad." I froze. I saw everything," he said, his voice gravelly, weary. "The posts, the interview, the leak. I didn't know. About the internship. About your proposal. Isabel kept things from me." She kept everything from you, I said, including your daughter. Silence. I want to talk, he said finally. Face to face, please. Now you want to talk? I said bitterly. After your company tried to sue me into silence? I didn't approve that letter, he said quickly. Legal did it without my sign-off. Madison, I made mistakes, but I didn't know how deep they went until now. I didn't answer. Just one lunch, he said. Let me explain. That's all I'm asking. I hung up without saying yes or no. For the next 2 days, I couldn't stop thinking about it. About Mom. About what she would do. She believed in second chances, but only when they were earned. Tyler didn't push me either way. Closure can be a door you walk through, or one you slam shut, he said. Up to you. I didn't sleep much that night, but in the morning I called a number I hadn't dialed in years, and said 5 words I never thought I'd say again. Tell him I'll meet him. The last time I had lunch with my father, it was my 17th birthday. He'd taken me to Cloverleaf Bistro, a quiet, cozy spot tucked away on a side street in Queen Anne. Mom had loved that place. She called it her sanctuary, where she'd go when spreadsheets gave her migraines and the board gave her ulcers. Now, 2 years later, I stood outside that same glass door staring at my reflection. Older, harder, sharper. I adjusted the lapel of my navy blazer, took a breath, and walked in. Dad was already seated in the corner booth. Alone. No bodyguards, no assistant, no Isabel. He looked smaller. The once imposing Charles Cole, king of enterprise analytics, keynote speaker at global summits, sat there with hunched shoulders, gray creeping into his temples, and tired eyes that hadn't slept in weeks. He stood when he saw me. Madison? I didn't hug him. I just nodded and slid into the booth. Thanks for meeting me, he said, his voice soft. You look grown. That's what betrayal does to a person. He winced, but didn't argue. A waiter came by. I ordered an iced tea. Dad got his usual, black coffee with 2 sugars, the kind Mom always teased him for. I noticed he didn't correct the order when the sugar didn't come. She's gone, he said as soon as the waiter left. Isabel, we're divorced, official for 2 weeks now. I raised a brow. That quick? The board demanded it. Once the internal investigation confirmed she pushed Insight Light without proper attribution and tried to suppress your original proposal. They wanted her gone. And you just let her go? She was never mine to begin with, he said quietly. She was control, a distraction. I was too scared to be alone. He paused, then looked at me with the first flicker of something human behind his eyes. You weren't wrong, Madison. About her. About me. The words should have felt satisfying. They didn't. Why didn't you listen back then? I asked, staring him dead in the eye. Why was her voice louder than mine? He looked down at his coffee, stirred it, even though he hadn't added anything. Because you reminded me too much of your mother, and that hurt more than I knew how to deal with. The honesty hit harder than the lies ever did. I looked around the restaurant. The same vintage clock hung above the fireplace, the same jazz playlist hummed from the speakers. But everything had changed. Why now? I asked. Why reach out now, after all this? He straightened up, clasping his hands together like a man preparing to beg. Because I watched your interview, and I realized. You've done what I never could. I blinked. What's that supposed to mean? You created something meaningful, from nothing, without a board, without a name. You built PulsePoint into a brand people trust. You brought innovation back to where it belongs. He reached into his briefcase and slid a folder across the table. CoalData wants to offer a full merger, with PulsePoint as the innovation arm. You would be CEO of the merged company. My stomach dropped. What? I'm stepping down, he said, voluntarily. The board already voted. They want fresh leadership, vision, and frankly, they want you. I opened the folder. Legal paperwork, term sheets, transition plans. It was real. So after everything, I said slowly, you're handing me the very company that kicked me out? I'm not handing it to you, he said. You earned it. I'm just trying to make amends before it's too late. I closed the folder. My throat was dry. My heart raced. My brain screamed at me to say yes, to take back what was mine, what was ours. But another part of me whispered, don't forget what it cost. Why would I trust anything from that board? I asked. They let Isabel run the place into the ground. Most of them are new, he replied. And they've seen what you can do. The market saw it too. Your stock is rising. Ours is falling. He took out a small envelope and placed it beside the folder. Mom's old office. I kept everything, photos, awards, even her notebooks. I wanted to show you. I didn't let her legacy disappear entirely. My fingers brushed the envelope. I didn't open it. Not yet. If I say no? I asked. Then I walk away, he said without hesitation. No pressure. No more guilt trips. You've already proven yourself, Madison. This isn't about fixing the company anymore. It's about fixing us, if that's even possible. The waiter returned with our food. Mushroom risotto, Mom's favorite. We didn't eat much. The silence that followed wasn't comfortable, but it was honest. When the check came, Dad paid in cash, something he used to do only on dates with Mom, when he wanted the moment to feel old-fashioned. Think about it, he said, standing. No rush, no strings. I nodded, not committing to anything. Oh, and Madison? He added before walking out. Yeah? I watched your acceptance speech. You said you had no backup plan. He smiled faintly. You were the plan, all along. He left me sitting there, heart tangled in 1,000 knots. Back at the garage that night, Tyler and Jonas were waiting. So, Tyler asked, how'd it go? He's offering me everything I ever wanted, I said. Just 10 years too late. Jonas glanced at the contract and muttered, You could buy them in 2 years at this rate. I laughed, but it didn't reach my chest. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat alone in the backyard under Ellen's string lights, holding Mom's old notebook in my hands. Inside the front cover was a quote I'd forgotten. Build what outlives you. Love what remembers you. The next morning, I made my decision. 3 weeks after that lunch, I walked into the Coal Data boardroom, not as a daughter looking for approval, but as a CEO ready to lead. I wore a tailored black suit and my mother's sapphire pendant. My hair, which Isabel once called too wild for business, was curled in soft, confident waves. The room fell silent as I entered. Every seat around the massive oak table was filled. Some faces I remembered. Others were new, young, sharp, curious. All eyes turned to me. Good morning, I said, placing the PulsePoint merger proposal at the center of the table. Let's begin. And just like that, the balance of power shifted. For 2 hours, I presented a complete integration plan, how PulsePoint's agility and Coal Data's infrastructure could create an entirely new standard for small business tech solutions. I outlined cost-effective upgrades, AI-powered tools, and a cultural reset built on transparency and trust. I didn't hold back. I didn't soften my voice. I didn't wait for permission. When I finished, the room was quiet. Then Mr. Harrison, a board member who'd served with my mom, leaned forward. Madison, he said, his tone warm. I've been in this company 22 years. I've never seen a pitch like that. He looked at the rest of the board. All in favor of naming Madison Cole as the new CEO of the merged entity? Every hand went up. I stood still, barely breathing. Welcome home, he said. That night, I didn't go out. No champagne, no party. I went to my mom's old office. It had been gutted years ago, walls painted gray, her awards boxed up, her photos erased. But now it was mine. I spent the evening restoring everything. Her family photo on the shelf, her sticky notes filled with scribbles of ideas, her framed quote, "Innovation without empathy is just noise." I ran my hand across her desk and whispered, "We're back." The next few months were a whirlwind. We renamed the company Coal Pulse Technologies, a fusion of legacy and innovation. PulsePoint remained its own brand under our umbrella, but its influence was everywhere. We launched a full-scale program offering free data tools to mom-and-pop businesses across 3 states. We tripled our team, opened offices in Austin and Denver, and rolled out PulseLight, a streamlined version of our software for nonprofits. I brought Jonas in as head of development, Tyler became CFO, and my father? He took a seat on the advisory board. Quiet, respectful, watching more than talking. We weren't fixed, but we were talking. He came to Sunday dinners sometimes. We'd share stories about Mom, about business, even laugh once in a while. One Sunday, after everyone else had left, he lingered in the doorway of my apartment. "I know I don't deserve this," he said quietly. I looked up from my laptop. "Then earn it." He nodded. "I'm trying." And to his credit, he was. He started therapy, volunteered for a nonprofit tech incubator, and never once asked to come back in as CEO. For the first time in a long time, I started to believe he might not just be my father again, but a better version of himself. 6 months after the merger, I got an invitation to give the commencement speech at my old university. I stood on stage, looking out at a sea of graduates, wide-eyed, hopeful, scared, and I told them the truth. "Success," I said, "isn't a title, it's not money, it's not even recognition. It's waking up every day knowing you stayed true to your values, even when it hurt, especially when it hurt." I saw my father in the crowd. He was crying, and this time I didn't look away. After the speech, a reporter from TechNow asked me how it felt to be a 22-year-old CEO of a billion-dollar company. I smiled. Honestly, it feels like I'm just getting started. That evening, back at headquarters, my team surprised me. They unveiled a new lobby installation, a massive art piece of a phoenix rising from layered steel and shattered glass. Underneath it, in bold letters, was my mother's favorite quote: "From the ashes of adversity rise the phoenixes of our greatest triumphs." I stood there for a long time, hand over my heart. Later that night, my father approached me with a small box. Inside was a leather-bound journal. "Your mom started this when she founded the internship program," he said. "She always meant to give it to you." I opened it. First page, in her looping handwriting, for Madison. The girl who would someday take everything we built and make it fly. Never let anyone clip your wings. Not even me. I couldn't hold back the tears. That night, I walked through the halls of a company that once rejected me, now redefined in my name, by my vision. Not out of revenge, not out of ego, but out of love. Love for what my mother dreamed of, love for the girl I used to be, and love for the woman I had become. Epilogue. 1 year later, Pulse Technologies topped Inkla's list of most trusted tech companies. We launched partnerships with local schools, mentoring young girls in STEM. PulsePoint became the #1 analytics platform for independent businesses across the West Coast. But none of that was what made me proudest. What made me proudest was walking through the front doors every morning and seeing the photos back on the walls of my mom, of our family, of the people who mattered. What made me proudest was watching my father stand quietly in the background, letting me lead, and knowing, without a doubt, that the girl they once cast out had risen from the ashes and built something no one could ever take away.